Thanks to Sean Lima, I apologize if I said that wrong, for requesting A Bug's Life.
Here I go, for the colony, and for oppressed ants everywhere!
Disney uses the same logo intro they used for Toy Story, giving me a nostalgia boner for a much better movie.
Well, that might be a new record. Jeremy says boner in literally the very first sin.
The movie takes place on an island on what appears to be a dried up riverbed, which makes me wonder where the river is. Is there a drought? If so, why is the surrounding foliage still so green? And why didn't Pixar just make this an island on an actual f***ing river?
According to this Google AI search, it is entirely possible for this to happen because there's always an underground water source to make it work. Also, I made sure to not watch Luke's video on this movie, but he told me that CinemaSins is sending the Spanish version here because of the word presents being in Spanish, which is definitely odd.
The late 90s was a weird era when there were basically two different movies for every story. Dante's Peak and Volcano, The Truman Show and Ed TV, Without Limits and Prefontaine. I mean, two f***ing movies about Steve Prefontaine? Well, here's A Bug's Life, not ants.
Okay, but why was any of that a sin for A Bug's Life? The fact that there were two separate movies in 1998 about ants? The long-running theory is that Jeffrey Katzenberg stole the idea from Disney and gave it to DreamWorks. And while that's not been confirmed, what is true is that they rushed ants into production to make sure it released 1 month before A Bug's Life. So if anything, this should be a sin for ants.
Based on what I saw a few seconds ago, there's plenty of grain. The climber ant could have avoided the berries altogether, and they are logistically much harder to carry. All in all, this seems like a dick move.
Yeah, but aren't ants famous for being able to lift objects that are about 10 to 50 times their weight? And they're gathering this food for the grasshoppers, and I would imagine Hopper wouldn't only want grain.
Ants, of course, are an absolute nightmare. There's a reason this story takes place outdoors. If it was set in a house, the viewer would definitely want all of them dead. Take that, baby Hayden Panettiere.
What even is the sin here? That ants are the worst? I don't know, considering they are some of the most resourceful species on the whole planet, I think it makes sense to have an entire movie around them. And we wouldn't have gotten Ant-Man without them either.
I'm lost!
A real ant would not get lost in this situation. Ants use pheromones to make their paths, so this guy should just be able to walk around the sleeve to get back on track with no hesitation.
Actually, no. It is possible for ants to get lost like this. At least that's what Google says. But since I wasn't able to find a source confirming this, I'll instead just say that even if that's true, this is an animated movie about ants that talk, and this was intended as a joke.
This is nothing compared to the Twig of 93.
Island ants somehow measure time by human scales and know a special time known as 1993.
These ants also speak English and have 4 limbs instead of 6, and are blue instead of brown, and have human conversations and—
She's got enough on her plate already. Training her daughter.
Oh, yes, Princess Ada, the poor dear.
Aggressive expositional emphasis.
sending exposition that you definitely would have asked for if it wasn't there.
Ants and aphids actually do have a mutual relationship, and even though that is a delightfully accurate part of this movie, the ants should treat the aphids more like colleagues and less like pets.
Is this whole video just going to be Jeremy saying the movie got a bunch of real-world stuff about bugs wrong? Because that just isn't fun. The movie is obviously taking creative liberty to tell a story. These are the kinds of sins that I just don't get, because he's sinning artistic decisions.
Dot! What did I tell you about trying to fly?
Not until my wings grow in.
I'm impressed her wings were able to lift her off the ground at all.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Okay, everyone, single file. Food to the offering stone.
These ants didn't just do this to begin with. Instead, they resorted to chaos and ran around like a bunch of dumb humans.
I'm pretty sure this is meant to characterize Hopper, showing how scary he is to cause most of the ants to panic and not think clearly enough to finish what they were doing.
One of those circle of life kind of things.
A little Disney cross-promotion for you.
Jeremy's upset at the movie for making an arbitrary movie reference cliche.
The birds eat the grasshoppers. Hey, like the one that nearly ate you, you remember?
Bumbling idiot bad guy lackey saying things at inappropriate times that are expositional, ultimately helpful to the audience cliche.
Dude, that is a very specific cliche. Also sending the funniest character in this movie.
There's still a few months till the rains come.
Yeah, there's still a few months until the rains come. The ants will still be able to collect more food for the grasshoppers, who will be dead by then because of their 2-month life cycle as an adult. Also, are they saying this happens every year? They are the oldest living grasshoppers ever.
Again, these bugs are already just humans in the bodies of ants and grasshoppers. If you've accepted that they can talk, then surely you can accept that they have longer lifespans, right?
Be back at the end of the season when the last leaf falls.
We'll just be sitting around for months, waiting for that last leaf to fall, which will be hard to verify, but sounds great.
Hopper specifically said that
Be back at the end of the season.
and the last leaf will fall by then. I'm fairly certain Hopper can tell when summer's end will happen back where he lives. I doubt they live too far from the ant colony.
I'm starting to think this movie is some kind of bizarre retelling of Aesop's The Ant and the Grasshopper fable, but the only thing the stories have in common is they both involve ants and grasshoppers.
So it's not a bizarre retelling of Aesop's The Ant and the Grasshopper.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're an ant, right? You have those wicked claws where you can climb up and down everything without a problem. And the f*** do you need a giant backpack anyway? The contents of your pack are literally all around you.
Huh? What was the sin? The fact that Flick should be able to climb down or him having a backpack? Those are two completely unrelated things that you're just combining for no reason.
This scene is brought to you by Cartoon Physics. Cartoon Physics, bending the lines of reality to conveniently serve the movie's plot.
Guess what? Cartoon Physics is also responsible for making these bugs intelligent and causing them to have movie-level conflicts. If you were going to pull this card, then you should have pulled it at the very beginning.
You always cast me as the broom, the pole, the stick.
That's racist.
Considering the guy in charge is literally named after P.T. Barnum.
So, being a ladybug automatically makes me a girl. Is that it, flyboy?
It's also amazing that the insect kingdom even uses the word ladybug, but hey, funny joke, yo.
He's so close to getting it, guys.
This movie was way ahead of the curve on Minions.
Arbitrary movie reference.
What if they were all blindfolded?
It seems like this is the only thing they actually had planned.
Another sin that Jeremy just says and doesn't elaborate on. What is he talking about? How is this the only thing they actually had planned? It's so vague and empty that I don't even know what point he was trying to make.
I wonder what came first, the circus or the red and white umbrella and the animal cookie box?
Jeremy wonders aloud and gives the movie a sin cliche.
I guess it's technically still an Easter egg, even if they just tilt up and show it to you.
Sinning Pixar's Easter eggs.
This poor bastard has to do this for hours, maybe even days, maybe his whole life.
Apparently, shifts don't exist.
This cannot be the first time this bar has come loose and rolled away. I'm sure this establishment has seen plenty of fights that could cause the same result, given that it seems pretty seedy.
Who said this was the first time? Or even if it is, there has to be a first for everything, right?
Just to make sure I understand, are they standing on a pile of dead bodies right now?
No.
He's our resident thespian. Last year, he played the lead in Picnic.
Even though I love this pun, if I know anything, kids sure do love obscure Broadway references.
Or this can be seen as a joke for the parents. You know, since this is a family movie and families include parents, also sending something you like.
Oh, look at the beautiful colors of the blood.
Do the bugs have red human blood in their universe?
Yes.
We are the grasshoppers. Where's our food? We are the warriors, here to defend you.
Holy I just realized this movie is the Three Amigos.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Jesus, what are these ants teaching their kid ants? After this and the mural from before, I feel like these ant kids have been watching nothing but Quentin Tarantino.
Making a pun out of one of the greatest filmmakers of our time.
Hungry Bird Ex Machina.
Okay, let's review. The worst Deus Ex Machina I've ever pointed out is in the Peanuts movie.
The scene really highlights how many Ex Machina moments are in this movie, and just how much Deus hates Charlie Brown.
How the frick is this a Deus Ex Machina? Let me remind you that that term means a solution to a problem that comes out of nowhere. This is not a solution to a problem. It literally causes a problem for Charlie, since now he doesn't have that book report. Before that, it was in Treasure Planet.
Deus black holing up.
What? The black hole saved them? Even though they start getting sucked into it right after? This is a Deus Ex Machina? Is anyone else seeing how stupid this sin is? This is definitely one of the worst I've ever seen though, considering Deus Ex Machina means the main characters are saved and the bird here literally causes problems for our heroes. So I'm going to say this is the second worst DEM I found in the video. Peanuts movie is still worse.
Nobody really believes I can do this job.
I thought all ant queens had to do was reproduce, which to me sounds like a pretty sweet gig.
Constantly reproducing sounds like a pretty sweet gig? And I'm fairly certain the movie is implying this version of Queen Ants does more than just that.
These grasshoppers are drunk on grain.
Ahem. You were saying?
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1.
Does Hopper not know there are hundreds of thousands of other ant colonies he can terrorize? Who cares if they rise up? The grasshoppers can literally just go anywhere else.
Yeah, but how long did it take for Hopper to begin this whole relationship with the ants in the first place? I would assume it took a little while, and that he wouldn't want to repeat it.
Why doesn't the Black Widow and the circus gang eat any of the ants? She's already trapping them in webs. Eating them is the next logical step for spiders.
Probably because this particular Black Widow is intelligent.
I feel 70 again.
Jeez, how long do these ants live? If he's 70, then the queen has to be like 400 years old, right?
And you still don't get that this is a fictional world about fictional bugs yet?
Jiminy H. Cricket!
Taking Jiminy Cricket's name in vain.
You use the term Deus Ex Machina in vain, so I don't think you're one to talk.
Didn't you hear, Hopper? He's gonna squish the queen to remind him who's boss.
Grasshopper 1 reminds Grasshopper 2 of this, conveniently within earshot of Dot.
Narration.
Well, what do you know? Dot can fly at the last second just before she fell to her death. Who knew that was coming?
Hopper moved into the anthill, and his gang's eating everything. And I heard a grasshopper say that when they're finished, Hopper's gonna squish my mom.
Shouldn't you lead with the mom squishing?
We gotta do something.
How?
Come on, you guys, think.
Ooh, I know, the bird.
Yeah, our original plan.
Pretend it's a seed, okay?
That worked.
Must be an ant thing.
No, it's just a dumb thing.
Just a whole bunch more Jeremy yells at the screen cliches. I think so CinemaSins can just show an important scene from the movie and pad the sin count.
I know Flick doesn't have much of a choice at this point, but he seems confident that this team of second graders will be able to fly this bird.
Which they do, right? I mean, the only reason the bird ends up failing is because P.T. Flea burned it.
Where is she?
I'm sorry, a magician never reveals his secrets.
The circus bugs seem to expect Hopper to just accept that the queen is gone.
No, they don't. They are simply distracting Hopper for as long as they can until Flick and the kids can get the bird working.
The fake bird flies in front of the moon, revealing that it's fake. Yet none of the grasshoppers look up in enough time to see that this bird is made of leaves, twigs, and is being suspended by a thread.
When you're being attacked by a giant monster, I doubt you would even pay enough attention to notice. Like, birds are basically dragons to the grasshoppers, and you really think they calm down enough to see that?
Whose idea was this?
Who cares? You're killing everybody anyway, right?
No, he's not. Hopper only planned to kill the queen to prove his superiority over them, but now that the ants rose up against him with the bird, he wants to know so he can claim his authority over them again, being the villain that he is.
Flick is all bruised up, because, you know, ants bruise, right?
Just like ants have 4 limbs instead of 6.
I hate it when someone gives away the ending.
He gets eaten by birds, the ants use Flick's inventions and live happily ever after.
Come on, what kind of joke was that? That wasn't even close to funny. Also, what were those dots in the timer about?
I'll get more grasshoppers and be back next season.
Because I was apparently created in a lab and possess a tortoise gene of some sort that keeps me alive for years and years.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Oh, hello, Bird Ex Machina. Coming in twice now, I see. Say hi to the Eagles for me, will you?
See, that's closer to your definition of Deus Ex Machina, but it's still incorrect. Flick intentionally led Hopper to the bird's nest so it can kill him. And the fact that this bird was set up before this scene means it is a solution that comes from nowhere. This isn't rocket science, Jeremy. Would it kill you to learn what words mean?
I don't think we need to involve the queen in this. She's got enough on her plate already. Training her daughter.
Oh, yes, Princess Abba. Abba! Where are my platforms? Let's go disco. Let me try it again.
Okay, tail sway it.